Not only is red Tiger Lotus a very easy plant, which will make it good for beginners, it's also one of the toughest delicate plants you can get in the aquarium. I'll explain that in a minute. But also, it's naturally red. What that means is you don't need specialised substrate, high powered lights or CO2 to have some nice colour in your aquarium. I don't use CO2 and you can see the colours I'm getting out of this one here. So what I mean about it being delicate is the leaves are paper thin, thinner than that in fact, and really easy to tear. However, you can have a bit of flow in your tank and it seems to do fine. And this plant wants to survive. It can handle a wide range of pH, anywhere from 5.5 to 7.8. And you only need a single bulb or a small plant to get started. I originally began with just a single leaf on a single stem that somebody gave me years back. And it's turned into a number of healthy plants that have lasted me a long time. I've used it in so many tanks now and given it to lots and lots of other fish keepers too. So it's a bulb plant from the lakes and ponds of West Africa and Madagascar. So it's going to want decent substrate or root tabs. Doesn't need to be the best of stuff, like I said, just enough for it to feed on and stay healthy. And that is one of the ways that it's going to propagate. So if I pull this one up here, you'll see how far the roots go. And some of those roots end up becoming runners, so the plant will pop up in another section of the tank. Once you start looking through the roots, you'll discover it's created more bulbs. And this is what I mean about this plant really wanting to survive. It's trying to propagate in several different ways, right? As well as being tough. Just as a by the way, look how much of it I've pulled out of this tank. Just because I left it to its own devices for a wee while. Look. It is such a great grower once it settles in. Anyway, this is another way I've noticed this plant propagating. So once in a while it will cast off one of these wee bulbs, which will float along the tank in the current or get knocked along by the fish until it gets nestled in somewhere and start to grow. Fantastic, isn't it? If you find a bulb yourself and you're wanting to plant it somewhere, just plant it halfway into the substrate and leave half poking out. That seems to make it grow best. After that, leave it alone, and in time, it will reward you with these broad, structured, colourful leaves and a nice plant in your aquarium. However, that's only one half of the joy this plant has to offer. Quick look at this gorgeous baby leaf down the bottom here, and we'll move on to the other half. So within time, you'll start to notice these folded leaves, like this one here. What this is a leaf that is trying to reach the surface. Once they get there, they open out into these heart-shaped leaves, kind of cute. And once they develop, they turn into this kind of canopy of lily pad leaves. I mean, this isn't even as big as they get eventually, but you can see they're almost the size of my hand. And another example of how this plant really ensures its survival. Now, it can receive atmospheric CO2 and absolutely thrive. It still treats us with beautiful colours and gives cover for your fish, so it makes them feel secure. However, at this stage, your plant inside the tank doesn't seem to be quite as bushy anymore. The plant is sending more of its energy to creating the leaves on the surface now, but that's fine. If you'd rather have the bushy plant inside the aquarium, all you do is follow the stem down to the base and pick it off. Probably better to use aquarium scissors, right enough, but you get the idea, hey? Without the lily pads, the plant lower down will start to fill out again. So for smaller tanks, it's probably what you want to go for. The lily pad kind of effect is probably best suited to larger tanks, but you can experiment either way. Either way, this is a gorgeous plant that is easy to grow, colourful without requiring CO2 and high levels of iron and all the rest of it, can sustain a range of parameters. It's a gorgeous, interesting, hardy, easy to grow, colourful plant.